thanks for joining us during this kind of difficult time for everybody. So really appreciate you spending the time to connect with us. How have you been doing recently?
I'm in Shanghai. I'm in a quarantine hotel at the moment. I've been here for, I think, 10 days now, 4 days left, and I'm being treated well. I'm being provided everything. So I understand why people have to go through this when they land in China. They're doing the right thing at the moment. And I think it's only this way that we can stop the spread in China. So all precautionary measures need to be taken.
You were flying back from Spain, right?
I was in Spain, then I flew to Germany for a couple of days on a business trip. And then I decided that things were getting so bad in Europe that it would be better to just fly back to China.
Yeah.
At that point, the policy wasn't so clear upon arrival. So I was a little bit shocked on the day, but I can understand now why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Could you tell us just a little bit about your current activities, what you're doing for work in Shanghai, how long have you been in Shanghai?
I'm from the 2016 batch. And basically I moved into Shanghai in 2014 for my studies, and I've been in Shanghai ever since.
Yeah. How about your family, your friends at home? Have you been in contact with people? What are you telling them about what your experience in Shanghai has been so far?
Yeah, so there's during a hotel quarantine in isolation, there's a lot of time to talk to people.
Right.
So I've been in touch with friends and family, and communicated to them is that we all need to do what China is doing. We all need to take all these measures, and I'm very concerned about the current situation in Spain. I'm from Spain, and I see how some of the measures that could have been taken have not been taken there. So respect to the Chinese authorities that have gone through this, I think, tough decisions that have been made.
How about your work, Alberto? Obviously it's had a massive impact. Could you tell us a little bit about your current position and what you are doing as regards working on how the virus might be affecting your role right now?
Now I work in the travel industry right now. So I work a German, it's a distribution channel, it's a tech solution for hotels. So we're seeing a very steep decline. Definitely it's testing the resistance of the whole industry. I think things will settle eventually. We're just going to go through a very, very negative period of a couple of years, I believe. It's going to be a deep recession in the industry.
You said you're involved in the travel industry. What part of the travel industry are you involved with?
We work with corporates. We are sort of an outsourcing solution for corporates to manage their travel programs. So we do build the programs for them. We do build the hotel programs, and then we manage them. And we are a solution that drives everything through data. So of course we're going to see, and we are seeing already a very steep decline in our business. Hoping that things go back to normal sometime later this year, beginning of next year. We'll see how the situation evolves.
A lot of people in a lot of parts of the world are working at home, but you're working in like a quarantine hotel. Has that presented any challenges, or has that been something which you found to be stimulating, or how has it affected your everyday work?
I think it's more the psychological impact that more than whether I'm able to work. I've been working from home before, right? So the hotel, this has been a situation for me for the past 10 days, but the past 2 months, I haven't been to the office. Like, I think many people are in the same situation or have only resumed work in the office a couple of weeks ago. I would say it hasn't had an impact, of course. I would much rather have a personal interaction with my colleagues, but I'm able to carry out my work almost without any disruption.
Any advantages you found being isolated from colleagues and people in the office?
But I don't have to commute, which is it's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's more efficient.
Just going back to your time at CEIBS then, what things did you take from your time at CEIBS, and which of these things are you applying right now in this unusual situation?
I think the learnings from CEIBS are massive, not just in this situation, but in every situation, right? I mean, CEIBS puts you under a lot of stress, and as a foreigner, puts you under a lot of stress in an uncomfortable or unknown situation or unfamiliar situation, I'd say. And it's the learnings from CEIBS have definitely helped my career. I now have to work. My role is currently an APAC role, so I do cover bigger region, but the focus is on China. I do have to work and interact with Chinese colleagues, and that's something that I started learning. I'm still learning about it as a foreigner, but I started learning at CEIBS.
I mean, is there kind of anything kind of specific you can think of, like something a professor said, or some particular lesson which you can think of hearing at the time and now you're putting that into practice?
I think group work. If I had to pick one thing, it's group work, because that's the moment where we had to interact, foreigners and Chinese students. And that seeing how Chinese work in groups has helped me a lot, because I now have to face that on a daily basis. It's the quality of your peers that determines much of the quality of the MBA.
What do you what are the key things from how Chinese people in general are, the way they're reacting to the restrictions and the need to take all these precautions? What is the main difference, do you think, which you can see in China compared to Spain or Europe?
The key difference, and the difference that makes the difference, is that Chinese people listen to their authorities. Listen to our authorities. We try to find consensus when consensus is not needed. You need, in this type of situation, you need quick reactions. You need to take the extreme measures like they took in the Hubei province, but this is the only thing that works, and you need everybody to follow.
Yeah, you said you have an APAC position. Do you see a lot of commonalities between what's happening in China and other regions in the APAC area? Is it similar, for example, Japan, South Korea? Do you think it's similar there?
There are big differences. I'd say Japan and Korea have taken the right measures. Also Singapore, and also some countries in Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, has now taken some measures. But yeah, definitely, I think the cultural aspect of listening to authority and respecting authority makes a difference in this case.
Have you been, talking with any other your fellow alums? Have you been talking with them how to approach the problem, discussing what situations they've been facing in their roles? Is there some kind of conversation you've been having with your fellow alums from the past?
Sure. Yeah, we are talking every day, obviously.
What are some of the things or some of the issues which have been emerging from your conversations?
I think we all have the same opinion, and I think we all see, because we're all connected to China. We're all some of us are still living in China. So we have seen that we've lived very closely what really works against this pandemic and what doesn't work, because most of them are from other countries. So they see their countries reacting very slowly to this crisis. Your
circle of alums and so on, and people who are really facing the virus directly in East Asia, why then is it so difficult that these learnings and information which you guys have picked up, why is this not flowing back to Europe and North America?
I think the difference is we have seen this in a very early stage. Let's not forget that when the outbreak happened in Wuhan, there wasn't any information at all about this virus. I think there's still unknowns, but at that point, we didn't know anything. So we have seen what happens. We're 2 months ahead of them. I would put it that way.
Do you have a head office in Europe or the US?
Yeah, head office in Germany.
Okay. What have your conversations with them been? Have you been trying to impress upon them the need to take examples from East Asia and take it seriously? What have the conversations been?
They thought this was a China problem that could become an Asian problem. Now they have realized that's not the case because the virus doesn't make any distinctions.
Are they coming to you? Are they coming to you now to try and get some insights and guidance?
They are looking at China very closely. We're monitoring the situation on a daily basis in China because we believe this is, to a large extent, what's going to happen elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be what happens elsewhere. We're starting to see now in Italy reduction in the growth, just as we saw in China after 2 weeks after the lockdown happened.
How do you see things playing out in the next few months? I mean, do you have some kind of medium or long-term plan for how you want to get your business back operating as normal, or do you think it's too early to talk about that?
We are seeing in the industry, of course, a very steep decline, and everybody is freaking out at the moment. Things are evolving every day, as I said, but I think we need to keep calm, keep doing what we know works against this virus. And we're also seeing different trends. I think international travel will be impacted the heaviest. Obviously, people will be very cautious of going to foreign countries or going abroad or going on very long business trips. And we are relying on the domestic side of the business to reactivate in the earlier, probably in Q3 or so.
What kind of permanent impact do you think might happen to your sector?
I can talk about business travel. I think the duty of care that companies have to exercise will increase, because so far many companies they have sent their employees on business trips and they don't record information on where they stay or who they're flying with. I think that's all going to change. There will be, from all the travel managers and procurement organizations, there will be a different type of duty of care. They will need to know where people are. They will need to look at travel insurance policies, and so on. And I think in terms of hotel and airport security, things are going to change, at least until this is fully contained. We saw what happened after 9/11 with those security checks at airports being a lot more strict than they were before. I remember when I was a kid, there were almost no controls. Yeah. I think we're going to see the same thing, maybe some temperature checks at airports. I think, at least for now, we'll see if we find a vaccine eventually and everyone is vaccinated, then maybe the requirements will relax. But let's not forget, there could be another outbreak.
So, Alberto, is there anything you want to say before we tie it up?
I would just leave with the message that we need to rethink our whole governance in Europe. Clearly, there's something that doesn't work. When something like this pandemic breaks out, we have proven that our governance system just isn't ready for this type of situation.
Well, Alberto, thanks very much. Really appreciate the time you spent and sharing your insights with us. It's really valuable, so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cameron. Have a good one.